I changed the semicolon, so obviously Visual Studio can't reconcile the symbols, and everything is screwed there. So yeah, gonna have to rebuild. Alright, so we need playlists for specific game modes, create a playlist from game mode permutations. So, I mean, we kind of need to create a playlist from all this stuff. So what it looks like. So what we need to do is actually load in copies of all this crap for playlists with these things being overridden. Alright. Well, let's just get like one playlist started. So there's no command line argument. The path is we didn't find anything. Alright. Well, we can try again. Alright, so our search paths are... We didn't actually add our file name in here. So it's exerter plus path. Yeah, okay, so we need to add the file name in there. And we've already got the slashes, so it should be pretty simple. Hard day's night? What? This is just a regular hours for me. Yeah, just you know, it's 8, pretty much exactly midnight, so perfect time to be working on game stuff. Alright, so we're going to find our path here. Our out path was found. Binaries went, or no, it was not. Okay, so the exe dir is in binaries. Project Dashkin binaries. It's Project Dashkin engine binaries. So we need to go Dashkin engine binaries. So 1, 2, 3. Well, it should have got it on the first pass, so I'll have to take a look at why it didn't. No, it needs one more. That's what it looks like. Oh, that's fine. We'll just add another. Okay, so the out path is this guy. Do we actually need another one? Alright, well, let's try it. Now, I want this thing to work in pretty much any of the directories that I run this thing out of, just for consistency, so I think this will be the right one. Just keep going up until you find the Dashkin folder. And it should work based on how our project repo is all structured. Alright, so it should be 1, 2, 3, 4. Can this get out of the way? I'm using the wrong thing. Instead of, should be file exists. It's like something's wrong here, because this definitely should be working. Yeah, not the most entertaining stuff right now, just working on loading and configuration data. But I mean, that's pretty much what a lot of actual engineering work for games is. Just a bunch of tedious crap that takes forever to write, that doesn't do anything useful. And there is an unending amount of it as well. Okay, so file path. Did we actually parse it? The object is totally empty. Failed to parse. Okay, so it was unable to parse the file. So let's see, why was it unable to parse the file? It's valid JSON, right? Nope. Missing a comma. Okay, let's see if it can parse that file now. Alright, successfully parsed. So we have one playlist, which is named custom default modes and everything. Custom is got what's it supposed to be? Custom options, custom modes, custom config. Test simple object. Alright, it's supposed to be that object. Alright. So we gotta regenerate our files. And we just gotta wait for that build since we auto-generated that shared objects. let's boot it up and see if it's all loaded. Alright, and hit that play button. So let's see what we got. We got our playlist, custom options. Yes, we do. Array num, undefined and empty. Quadruple jumps. Alright, so our custom options didn't look like it got set properly. So custom options has a game mode option which has type and value. I think it's game mode option set is what it's actually supposed to be. Yeah, alright. So why don't we do that? Because that has a name, a list of properties, set collisions, and rotations. Yeah, okay, so that's just wrong. Need to write some emails while I'm waiting. Alright, sorry. Email sent. Just stuff you gotta deal with. Basically, right now, we've got various hosting providers for our game servers, and we're trying to switch over to kind of a more long-term, cheaper solution to our game servers. And just the build-out configuration they got is not what we expected, so we kind of need to sort it out before kind of our trial periods and other business things gets fixed, and we end up getting locked into contracts for things that are not ideal. So you just got to send those emails. They're important. Some of those things. Okay, so our custom playlist, we have our custom options, which is quadruple jumps, which has a property for air jumps, and in the rotation. Alright, so excellent. So we have our playlist configuration getting loaded in. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is make actual playlists of stuff. So how this needs to work is right now we have like these game mode configuration things from option sets, and we have what, get next game modes, where it rolls through all these different things. We actually need a playlist which has all this stuff on it. So we need to set a global playlist, and we need to be able to fetch a global playlist, and the playlist needs to have stuff on it that we can use. So we have our playlist config, but is that good enough for our playlist option? Because basically it's get next game modes, print game mode. Yeah, okay, so we have this game mode configuration, get random game mode. Get required game modes, get random game mode. So we want to create like a default playlist, and a playlist needs to have a list of game mode configurations and a list of game mode option sets. Alright, so we need a playlist, and our variables are going to be guess we need game mode configuration, and we also need game mode option sets. And these are both arrays. I mean, this is looking like the config file, but it's not the config file because it's like a concatenation of the two. So this is going to be option sets, and this is going to be game modes. Game mode configs, maybe. Like the game mode config is this guy, which has these option sets on it. Yeah, okay, so we're just gonna have to deal with this. That's what it looks like, which is fine. Okay, so this will be a playlist. So let's get it generated so we can start using it. And we basically need to change everything that interacts with this thing. Like, all the game objects will be interacting with this game mode config and all the gm underscore functions. And we need to set that based on the playlist stuff. So we need to build this all again and make sure we got it set up. Hello, Carcan. How was the owl? I assume you're talking about the Super Bowl. Yeah, I watched the Super Bowl yesterday. Well, I guess it's the day before yesterday now. But yeah, it was a pretty good game. I mean, it was basically every play was another, like, the game never slowed down. It was pretty cool. Usually what'll happen is you'll have a Super Bowl and there'll be like some stupid penalty calls or some total crap that happens and gets everybody upset. But it was actually just like a good solid game, and that had a lot to do with the defense of both teams pretty much checked out. So they were able to actually make plays, and it was cool to see. That was really damn funny. I thought like the Eagles were gonna lose because of their missed free point kick at the beginning of the game. Like, because there were comments online as soon as that happened, people are like, "Ah, shit, this is how the Eagles lose. Like they missed the kick for the extra point, and that's it. They're gonna lose by that one stupid thing." You know, a bunch of laces out Dan memes getting posted. But in the end, it was the Eagles' defense that won the game. They only had one sack in the game, and that sack turned into a turnover, which ended everything. Which was just like, damn, you could do everything right, and there's just one play you screw up, it's all over. And then even like the last play, you know, the Hail Mary into the end zone, like they almost had it too for the Patriots to tie it up. It was like, damn. Usually doesn't happen. Okay, so we got the build on our playlist stuff. So now we should actually kind of start using it. So we loaded in our playlist. What we need to do is make a list of playlists, and then we want to have an active playlist. Okay, so we'll have a active playlist and all that stuff. So why don't we make a new function here, which is static void set playlist, and let's pass in a constant playlist reference. And these are F playlists. So set playlist, let's do set playlist by name. Yeah, the other cool thing was what they released the movie, the Cloverfield Paradox, right after the game on Netflix, which was like a full production movie just released without a theater, just straight onto Netflix. Which is like, oh man, I think that's the first time they've done that. So people were kind of going crazy online on that sort of thing. They're like, what? It's available? When's it available? When's it coming out? Now? Why can't this game be over? So it was, I think that's always cool if we move more towards stuff like that. Because it's always real nice when it's like, when can we get the thing? You'd be like, and it's available today. Alright, so set playlist by name, get active playlists, get playlist names. What else are we going to want? Get active playlist is what it should be called. Okay, so I think that'll work. This is gameplay utils. This is in generated code, isn't it? No, it's not. Alright. But I'm not sure how much other countries really give a damn about American football, so I think it's around 0. Yeah, I think it's a 0. But it's about, other countries care about American football about as much as we care about actual football. It was really funny. I think we would give a damn about like soccer in other countries if we were any good at soccer. But since our team sucks or whatever, we just don't give a shit. It's kind of a self-perpetuating thing. Like if we're not the best at it, then we could give a fuck about it. Alright, so get all the names for this thing. So get active playlist, we're just going to so if that's null, otherwise we're going to return the active playlist. Set playlist by name, we're going to go through, so if this is null, we just return. Yeah, so I did go get a DisplayPort cable, so I got my 2 big monitors now, but if I hook up this 4th monitor, like I tried it earlier, and as soon as I hit the start streaming button, my computer froze. So I think basically what's going on is the graphics cards that I've got can't support any more pixels than what I've got on these screens, and that's just, so I'm going to be running with 3 monitors, which really doesn't matter. This 4th one was only for bullshit like timers and everything, so it's not a big issue. Set playlist by name. Okay, so we're going to go through every one of these playlists, and we're going to set the active playlist. So if playlist.name is equal to playlist, let's just do playlist name. And we'll just return. This should probably be a Boolean. So we can return false here, and we can return true here. Okay, and set playlist to a playlist itself. All we have to do is, we also probably want to get playlist by name. And we'll take a bool here, and we'll have an output reference. So it should work that way. Yeah, so one of the good things about the Super Bowl is, of course, the commercials, which are usually pretty fantastic. This year, though, hands down, it appears that Tide won the Super Bowl for commercials. Like, basically what they did was they spoofed every other commercial that you would have expected, and instead of having, like, you know, what would have been the attractive dude from, like, Old Spice or whatever, they had this, like, kind of fat white dude who's just like, nope, it's a Tide ad, and he looks like, you know, just like random white dad that's fat and just, you know, does his job and everything. He's like, no, just Tide ad. It's like, yeah, that's pretty damn funny. So they definitely won in my book. let's see, we're gonna have to initialize this thing. So we'll just initialize it to default. Let's see, we got set playlist to this thing, so gotta do all the things. Where's S active playlist? Alright, let's see this. Yeah, no timers anymore. And I will be right back. Yeah, the other interesting thing is this is kind of the first month where we're really seeing how much it actually costs to run the game. Because, you know, there's bills for music and bills for sound effects and bills for servers and bandwidth and everything. And, you know, we've got a full months of data with January. We've got all the numbers from, you know, how many sales and, you know, how many events and what effect updates have and everything on people playing. So we finally do have some actual numbers. And the biggest thing that comes out is that it's pretty funny. It's like a lot of the feedback has been, this game is really good, I have a lot of fun with it. You know, we haven't seen any like, oh my god, this game is just broken, I can't do anything, it doesn't work on my machine. We've had no customer service issues of people like, I paid $10 and this is bullshit, refund my money. Nothing like that. And it just appears that the biggest thing that's going to influence our success is just marketing. Like, if we do marketing, it appears more people show up, and that's just it. There's just no getting around it. So it doesn't matter how good we make the game. In the end here, it's going to be if we have budget for marketing to sell the damn thing, then that's going to determine how successful the project is. Okay, so we got our playlist stuff. We need to load our playlist in, and we also want to set our playlist by name. Alright, so create the default playlist. And then we need to set the current active playlist down here. Okay, so the active playlist, we also are going to need another thing here for command line argument for playlist name. Isn't that often the case? Yeah, I guess so. It's just, you know, like, when you're working on a project, a lot of the time, there's a lot of things that you think matter that just don't matter. You know, it's always, And sometimes you just need real numbers to wake up to a few truths. Alright, so this will be playlist name, command line argument, so we'll default to the default one, otherwise the playlist is going to use this playlist name command line argument and log it out. So info log, setting playlist to %s. Yeah, no major things. Yeah, we also haven't promised a whole bunch of stuff that we haven't delivered, which is another thing. So we'll see exactly what we need to do, because the other thing will be when we launch on Steam far down the road, it'll be interesting to see how that affects everything, because I know a lot of games, they do early access and they get to Steam, and Steam is, they're in early access or Steam for quite a while, and we're trying to do the opposite. Like, we're trying to show up to Steam kind of after all the big stuff is done, and the game's ready to go, to try to maximize kind of that initial boost to the game. And I don't know, maybe that's the wrong call. Maybe we should get to Steam faster rather than slower. But I think as long as we can financially support everything, it's better to hold off so that we can maximize the amount of potential that Steam launch has, because as soon as you launch, like, you launch once, and that's kind of it for most games. And all the games on Steam that are doing well, if you're going to do well, you're going to do well regardless. But if you're going to at least break even, that first jump is pretty much all you get. But I think before we go to Steam, we at least need character progression, a lot of the kind of the single player practice mode stuff, and the abilities and all that locked down. Then I'd be a lot more comfortable for it. Excellent. Okay, so that's all built, so we don't have a whole bunch of crap exploding in our faces here. Okay, so I need to build a playlist out of this for every playlist in this playlist file. So let's see, I want to call object.playlists. So this will be for every playlist config. In playlists, I want to call add playlist from config, and we'll just do playlist config. And we'll do it that way. Yeah, our customizations are definitely going to be more than just colors, that's for sure. And that goes into the whole progression thing. Like, we need a reason for you to play a lot of matches, and that's going to be unlocking things, right? You need to have a kind of a reason for people to play, other than it just being fun. It's not enough. It's not enough anymore. There's too much out there. Okay, so we're going to make our playlist from this. So playlist.name is going to be config.name. Alright, so then we have playlist dot I guess description? Yeah. Okay, so yeah, okay, so we need all these copied over. Yeah, but it's always interesting to actually get into some of that where, especially when you're working in something like the game industry where a lot of the game is about a lot of building the game. Everybody working on the team is all hyped up about making it good, and pretty much, all the meetings are about making the game better and everything like that. Like, you don't go into making a game and be like, man, we're going to make the biggest pile of crap ever, but it's going to make so much money. At least the professionals who make all the wonderful art and game design and everything, none of those guys have that sort of thing in their mind. But at the end of the day, it's kind of funny because you're just shooting yourself in the foot in a business sense, because really what works is the opposite. Like, what works is just, from a business sense, to be like, all right, let's just get this thing out there and we'll have like some addictive loop, and then we'll just pay money for marketing, and we need the right telemetry so we know which marketing channels actually get us new users, and there we go, we're done. Like, fuck it, let's just make money. Because while that sounds heartless and awful, that sort of thinking is more reliable in keeping your people employed and being able to actually make games, as opposed to shutting down. Like, everybody gets all upset about, oh man, all these game studios, they make these great games and then they disappear from the face of the earth. To be like, yeah, it might be related. All people want is hats. Yeah, it's pretty funny, working at a place like Amazon where literally everything is about customer first, and then coming from EA and some free-to-play game stuff where you're like, man, customers are assholes. Like, they hate us no matter what. And especially with free-to-play games, you get some real toxic players. Like, because they didn't pay anything for the game, but they still demand extraordinary customer service. And you're just like, at some point you can't, because you just literally can't pay anybody to do it. So it's pretty funny. Hello, Gubin. I am working on the playlist stuff at the moment, and I'm trying to see exactly how this game mode configuration crap works. So I need game mode configuration vars. Needs to be on this guy. No, the playlist doesn't have the game mode configuration vars. Let me see here. Get next game mode. So we need a list of game mode configurations. Alright. Alright, I also need create default playlist. Okay, so why don't we have that one first? Yes, and good morning. I think Adam is not streaming because he is under the gun for Bob's. I think that was his description of working on those things. Alright, so default modes. I need the gameplay utils.h here. Where are you? Game mode data.h. Throw it off on my other monitors. So this is weekdays or Bob's days. Yeah, he's back on a normal schedule, I think.